Good morning, everybody. First of all, I will present and I will introduce myself. I am a digital media strategist. Well, in general, I am a strategist specialized in digital contents and a PR for Latte Creative, which is a communication agency, which works with institutions and NGOs and no-profit organization, like, for example, Greenpeace, Amnesty International, Oxfam, but also the Italian Ministry of Culture or the Italian Ministry for Sanitarian issue. I am a professor for Talent Garden in Digital Marketing Master and a TEDx speaker. And I am also an activist. I am a feminist and LGBT plus activist. For Startup Italia, I am one of women to follow about innovation and digital strategy and many other things. So that's just to say to you that if you have some practical question during the lesson, if you want to report the lesson to practical issue you faced during your work, you are very welcome, and we can discuss of course in specific your needs. So today we will talk about elements of social media strategy, contents of social media strategy, and we will focus about a communication model, the storytelling. Let's proceed with the order. So a social media strategy, it's a guidelines you have about how to use your digital channels. What are you going to post? Because a lot of times it happens that you are focusing on a specific content. You just, I don't know, you do many things in your working life. You have to face very important issue, and so everything is reduced to I have to post this information, I have to share this content. A strategy provides you a generic plan, an overview. You have goals, you have a mission, but most of all, you have a vision of what you want to communicate. How you can build a strategy, no? So your generic plan about how to use social media, what you will post in it. The first of all is that you have to set your goals. Which are your goals? Maybe they could be information to make awareness of your community, to collect stories of your community, to share practical information about your organization and the activities you do online and moreover offline. The second of all is to choose the tone of voice. The tone of voice, it's the tone we have which can communicate. For example, if you are formal or informal, if you have more friendly, or if you choose a more institutional way to communicate. It seems not so essential to choose a tone of voice, but it's very important, specifically when you have to moderate comments and to interact with user, because if you choose a specific tone of voice, you know how to communicate, which is the voice of your organization online. Then it's about to choose the content and the storytelling, and which is the storytelling we will explain better later. And then planning. Planning, it's, for example, the editorial plan, when you practically organize all the contents for the week or for the months, and you choose tomorrow I will talk about this issue, and on Saturday morning I will post about that event that we will have in a couple of days. So when you choose what to publish and when. To focus about your goals, it's important to before of all, to ask yourself why we are online. Most people are online because they feel they have to, but it's an incredible opportunity to be online and to explain to a wider audience your issue, your mission, and what you do. It's a great opportunity to meet more people who are interested in what you do, to offer your service, but also to position yourself in relation with other stakeholders, with institutions and other organizations who cooperate with you or work with you. And so this reminds us about the first point we have talked about the goals, which is your mission, which is your final objective. It's related to another topic, which are the KPIs. If you just one note, if you we have
Yes, I noticed that there is some kind of problem with between computers and versions. So it's this PDF option is, I think, better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you to you. Well, I think for a more practical way, I can open it in the drop. I will use this pose from the lesson to invite you. So I was saying that this reminds us about KPIs. What are KPIs? KPIs are if we have specific objectives, like, for example, increase your follower base or increase the numbers of likes and comments, or if you have, I don't know, for objective, well, I will share this event on Facebook and I would like that, I don't know, 20 people will take part to it. This could be a goal. That's why in this slide, we define the goal as SMART. So they have to be specific. I've mentioned really silly goals, no? Just in terms of likes and comments and shares, but it could be also more important, like, for example, to raise more awareness, or to interact more with the people online, or to see more participation. But the characteristic of a goal, when you set your goal for your strategy, that they have to be specific. So you have to be a very specific idea of what you want to reach. They have to be measurable. For example, I was mentioning the number of likes or the number of people who interact. So you can see if with your strategy there are more people engaging with your content or less. They have to be attainable. This is a general important thing. Well, I think in life. So when you set a goal that you want to reach, it has to be possible to achieve, and it has to be results oriented. This is very important and is related to your organization. So your goal have to be related with what you do and what you believe in. And of course, it has to be reachable, not in a very long time. Of course, we have a general big mission that is, it has a lifelong term, but of course we can set more reachable goals in less time. So after we decide which are our goal, our mission, but most important, I want to say that it's about to choose our values. Maybe for you, it's very clear because it's your work and you do that every day. And so for you, it's very clear what's your communication it's about, because it's about very concrete and very specific issues. But sometimes to online user is not so clear, and it's because maybe we give by taken some concept. We just we are not very clear to express with a simple language, with affordable languages, what we do and what we believe in. But it's a very important part of our communication, because it helps people to feel part of our organization, to feel part of our communication. And so while we reflect about our values, It's also important to reflect about the values of people who follow us on social media or who want to be in contact with. What they do in their life, what do they think, what do they feel. In technique terms, it's about the personas, we will say. So when you, for example, when you plan a strategic issue, so you are reflecting about your target and you question a very specific question. So for example, here you can see an example of a personas, of professional personas. And so you, for example, you point out the name. You, of course, you invent it. It's not true. And its profession. For example, your target could be his name. What is his profession? How age is he, she? And more important, which are his interests, for example, or his needs, what he needs from our social media, what he's looking for online, information, or to feel part of something, or to find a correct way to live with themselves and the relation with the context, which are his values, the things he really believes in, and which are his inspiration. Aspiration are very important when we reflect about a target, because they can show us which type of content we will write. If we reflect about its interest and its needs, we can create, for example, a social media post which is really useful for our target. What they need most, information, or to need to be inspired by contents that are showing them a way to be in touch with their religion beliefs, and to find a balance between their life, the context, the social context, and the things they strongly believe in. So inspiration, information for practical events or practical information, or for example, to go in deep, for example, to things they can, for about tools government give them, for example. Maybe they don't know there is a specific tool they can use about Italian government or French government or European Commission environment, and we can explain to them, we can show them more interesting events to take part to, or things like that. And of course, that is not specified in this slide, but I found really useful. Another question we have to make is about their frustration. To know our target, it's important to know their interests, but it's also important to know their frustration. Which are the things that make them upset, for example, they don't like, or things that make them uncomfortable. Is there a specific topic or a tone of voice which make them uncomfortable, which we should avoid, or maybe we should make information about or awareness about? It's very important to be aware about these dynamics, because they can help us not only just to create social media contents, but also to be helpful and to create a safe online environment where people are happy to be in and happy to be part. So the following question help us to, as I said, to create content. As we say in practical, if we find out that users are specific interested in information about environment, government, organization, content, we should create more content about that. Or if they are interested in values, to be inspired, to read I don't know, editorial contents that goes in depth, for example, about integration or inclusion, or how to integrate our religion beliefs to the contemporary environment. It could be useful to give them access to specific content from influencers of their community, so people they trust. Influencers are not just Chiara Ferragni. Influencers are also important people we believe in, that we trust in, maybe important people of our community. That could be a religious leader, or it could be an activist, or it could be also people like us that we believe because we feel that what she says is true, it's authentic. It's very important, the concept of authentic in social media, because we are really used to think that social media is something not unauthentic, not real, but it's not like that, because we feel very close to people who write online because we feel them like us. There is a complete disintermediation between us, such user, and institutions and organization. We feel we have the power to speak to them directly, to question them directly. We feel the power to interact in a very simple way to institutions. Internet gives us the power to write directly to Obama if we would to, for example, and he could answer to us. This is very important when we think about online communication, because sometimes in offline context or in institutional context, sometimes people which our organization is made of and want to interact with feel there is a distance, between the management of the organization or institution that organization will connect with. There is this distance, and online communication helps us to feel closer. So to point out which are the things we need to give more value, and the things that maybe could be critic, and so we have to be careful to talking about, or have to be careful to use some specific terms, are very important to let us reflect about our social media strategy. So what type of content will we will post, which is the tone of voice, will be more informal, we will be more formal, because we want to create not distance, but more detached environment. Or we want to be institutional, of course, but informal. We don't want to be very distant. We want to be affordable and reachable. To study the target will also show us some important information. Well, from the study, we can understand everything about social media strategy. Well, of course, the strategy, we can say it doesn't create anything, because you study the target, you study the habits of your target, of the people you want to talk to, and then you get the ideas. It's the target gives you the ideas. For example, we have said that aspiration and frustration will point out what to write and how to write. Well, if we look at insights and data of our Facebook pages or Twitter accounts or Instagram accounts or whatever, also to our website, we will find out some important information. For example, what time the target is more online, and so they will suggest us at what time publish our content. If they are likely, in general, there is more online presence at lunchtime, for example, in the afternoon and in the evening, and surprising during the Sunday. During the Sundays, people have more spare time, likely, and so they use their time to search information and to read things that maybe during the week they haven't time to. This information, also, for example, the data related to the sex or the age of our target will show us how to do a very specific editorial plan. So we are looking here an example data, and so we will see what they use most. This is important also for also to decide which social media channel I will use, how I can choose the correct social media. Well, the answer is that the correct social media to be used is the social media that your target is using the most. So if you talk to an older audience, maybe Facebook and WhatsApp could be a very useful channels, as we can see. You see here a lot of letters. It's referred to the name of generation, because for better study the digital use of social medias, we have divided the generation, the age cluster, into some group like Generation Z, which are the very young. When we talk about Generation Z, we are talking about 13 years old, from 13 years old to about 17 years old. Millennials, which are from 20s to the 35 years old. I am like a millennials. Xennials are from 35 years old to about 45, and then boomers, which you will know this word because recently it has become more viral to call okay boomer. There is an internet expression. Boomers are people from 55 years old to 70, to be more clear. So this graphic will show us about the increasing of using of social media. Instead, for example, in European country, it's about 80% of population who is on social media. It's a very huge number. Gen X. So, of course, before boomer, we have Gen X, as we have said. The Gen X, it's from the 35 years old to 45, 50 years old, Generation X. And so we have seen these graphs that there is a general increase of online presence of people in general, and the big increase, it's about for older target. We see in this graphic below, that you will see that from 17% of boomers, so the people from 55 years old, 60 years old to beyond, it's quite increasing. Of course, younger people are very, very, very present online, but there is a big increase also for older people. That's why using social media is important, and it's useful also if you do institutional communication. So let's focus about the content of a social media strategy. Shape the message on the basis of the audience and for social networks, because every social network is different, every person is different. It's about differentiation. So if we have in our social media, we have focus about what we want to say and the target we want to talk to, the values we are driven by, and we have chosen the channels. For example, we'll make some example. We choose Facebook and WhatsApp, for example. WhatsApp is particularly useful if we want to just make a direct channel to give just infos. For example, don't forget that on Sunday at, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there is this event here. We are waiting for you. For example, it could be a use of WhatsApp, just to make insight, to make very short infos to remind people about events or appointments. But not not all social media are the same, so we can differentiate the contents. For example, Facebook, it's more it's more narrative social media. No, on Facebook we can share more stories to go in deep. We can make longer text, and we can build a very more structured environment. As I mentioned, for example, on WhatsApp, it's better to send short messages with very practical infos, because it's something that is perceived as more invasive of our personal sphere. So we prefer to be useful, to be practical. We just want the infos. I don't want you to be so invasive of my personal, our private digital sphere, because digital communication has evolved so much that we feel that some social media are more private than others. For example, we feel WhatsApp as something more private, while we feel, for example, Facebook groups or even Google content like something more public. And so we can modulate our communication and to integrate our communication. Some more examples. If your audience is composed by justice seekers, you have to create a message where you talk about right, justice, and you have to tell how you fight against racial discrimination. And so it could be different contents. So if we write it on social media, we could use photos, a longer text. We can go in deep. And if we use WhatsApp, we will give practical infos. If we use Instagram, for example, we could be narrative, but it's very important to use a very good quality photographic content, because Instagram is, and we will see in next days, it's content-based social media. It's the name. So what it means? It means that it is a social media which is based on a specific content, that are photos. The first thing you will see on Instagram are photos, so it's very important to have good quality photos. And let's go to storytelling. So we have talked about the mission, the vision, the tone of voice, the target. And let's choose how to organize our content. Well, here there are lots of quotes, but I will be more practical. Well, there is two types of line narrative, but not just a line, because you say these kind of studies are really ancient. It's about the linguistic study, this kind of narration from the 17th century. So you can imagine how old this is. It's not something that digital has invented in last years. So we have two types of narratives. A non-narrative. Non-narrative is just data, just fact. For example, the supermarket sales announcement, you know, the papers that you will find to supermarket, which you can find all the offers. You just say products and prices and offers. This is non-narrative messages, because there is no story. There is no story, it's just a specific information. But we are facing a type of society where everything is narrative. What it means that everything is permeated by a story. We are telling continuously incredible stories to transmit values, to transmit emotions. I will make you another example. One of the most important moment of advertising and marketing, which is something different from what you do, but will show you in a very clear way what I'm talking about. An important moment of the marketing and advertising history was about in 1984, when it comes out the first Apple spot. Why? Because it was a spot that shows a story and not the product. It was the first advertising spot where you were not facing the product. There wasn't a personal computer in it. You were looking at a story, and the spot was about this athlete, this woman, which is an athlete, that interrupt a really big conference of people that are all the same. So it breaks the rules, no? It breaks the homogeneous idea of society, and she disrupt this giant screen. It was a spot full of quotes about George Orwell and Big Brother. And it refers to IBM, which was the mainly opponent of Apple at that time. But the point of this example that show you how the communication has changed for everything, even if you are institutional, if you have an organization, and also if you do product communication, because it's the extreme in narration, because we are really used to think about the narration for organization or institution that have to do with important messages, with important values. But it's also true for marketing, which its aim is to sell something. So, you know, if it's true for someone who just wants to sell a product, you can imagine how important is narrative for who doesn't want to sell something, but wants to spread awareness and to spread safe place, and to spread innovation and to make the world change in better. So how to build a storytelling? Well, how we can say to define our storytelling, it's important that because it can help us to make difficult choices. Why? Because we create a story, we follow, we choose values, we follow. And so when, for example, we face online critic content against us, or where it could be also a flame is a topic full of comments that never stops. Most of them critics. It's called flame, online flame. It remember us, which is our story, where we came from, who we are, what we are talking about. It's very important. It's something that has to do with our beliefs. And the beliefs, the storytelling, the story we are telling to the people, it's a story they can share based on shared values. The values of the story we are telling are the same of our community. Story do not lead to action through rational arguments, but I'm not completely agree with the affirmation. They move through emotion. Well, it's important, the role of emotion, of course. And this we can make a little specific issue that is about positive emotion. We are right now in a period of our history where negative emotion show all their power. We can see many leaders that with words of hate and words of fear, storytelling about fear and anger, and they point about different, they make huge success online. We live in a world of Trump and Kim Jong-un, leaders who talk about hate and use fear in people to drive stories that are negative. but emotion are not just negative emotion. We have many cases of success cases, successful examples where positive messages are very successful and very shareable. For example, I can do a short example about, for example, the mayor of Bogota, which is a woman, or the mayor of Chicago, which is a Black woman who has won the election against a really dark opponent, which the opponent was talking about hate and fear and the fear of strangers and foreign people, while she was promoting a strong one, because positive emotions are not weak, but with a strong storytelling, a strong story about integration, about inclusivity, about Black lives integration and dignity, and to be together to facing America's problems, and she win against him. Let's remind us the importance of what we are talking about storytelling. Storytelling, for example, it's about the story of where we come from, which is our story, how the organization has been built, and why, which are the values that inspired its foundation. And what we do during every day, it's what inspires us to do our work, what make us wake up in the morning and do sacrifice in the name of our organization, and why we think it's important to spread our messages. And this could be also do through emotion, but also with rational arguments, because of course we are not talking about some very abstract things, and we are talking about also about policies and also about concrete way in our life to be more balanced and be peaceful and to stay together. So, of course, values and emotion. Here, I can explain to you about, for example, before to jump to the structure of storytelling, we can talk about, there are mostly two types of storytelling: ethic storytelling and pathos storytelling. Ethic storytelling is, for example, Apple storytelling. So it's a storytelling based on a way of life. It's ethic storytelling. It's the most used storytelling for NGOs, for example, no? Because the storytelling their storytelling is about a way to live life, a way to take action, a way to take part, values they strongly believe in, no? For example, the storytelling of Greenpeace, it's an ethic storytelling based on the beliefs about to a more green and sustainable world and sustainable environment, and to fair product, to fair work, to stay together and contrast the climate change. No, you see, it's ethical storytelling. Meanwhile, the pathos storytelling, it's about emotion. It's about, a storytelling about how you feel, about emotion that could be in a specific way. For make an extreme example of pathos storytelling, Donald Trump do a pathos storytelling. So the storytelling of himself and its policies are about the fear of different, the fear about economic crisis, the fear about to be isolated, of course, and to be menaced and treated by who is different from us and who believes different things from us. So it's a storytelling based all on emotion. It's completely irrational. For you, I think it's better talking about ethical storytelling, because it's about a way to be, a way to believe, a way to live life. It's approach to things, as we say. So as I mentioned before, the storytelling, it's something very ancient. It's not something about that digital media has invented. We are talking about linguistic that in the 17th century has for first time has theorized the storytelling structure. In specific, it was about Popper, which is this incredible linguistic, who has pointed out that every storytelling of any kind of storytelling, that could be books, songs, TV shows, there were not when Popper was alive, but if there was TV, he would agree with me. TV shows or comics or organization storytelling, or also political storytelling, parties storytelling, everything, it's about the same structure, and it's about fairy tales. So there is a hero which has a challenge to go through. There is a challenging moment, there is a difficult, and there is a mission he has to take in order to save a princess. Well, of course, the princess, the meaning of the princess is to reach our mission. And to reach our mission, he will do that with some opponents, contrasting opponents, but also with some helper. So the structure, it's always the same. There is a challenge. If we have not a challenge, there is not a story. And you can analyze in every content you will see in your life that every story starts from not a conflict, but from a challenge, something that you want different, something that you faced and you want to be better, or to resolve a conflict, and or to face an obstacle, or just to improve your life. And then you have to make a choice to get your result. So when we write our storytelling, we can ask ourselves, which is the challenge we are facing to? Which is our mainly challenge? Which is the change we want to make, the impact we want to have? To define and to find the challenge will tell us a lot about what we have to post online, for example, and what is most important to be focused. And it will also answer to our question about, I don't know what to write on social media. Which is our challenge? If our challenge is to provide tools and information, or to bring people to offline events, we will have our answer. So we will post more events, more practical information. We will explain, for example, technical issues that maybe are not very clear to our target. So we will make educational also products. Or maybe we will show them influencer of our community, people that can inspire them with their stories or their speech. We can organize online talk, for example, or make short video about, I don't know, a story of an activist, or a story of an influencer, or a story of a religious leader that we find very inspirational about its own life story. And sometimes it's more useful to inspire people, showing them an effective story of a people we admire, we feel admired of, that to put there a wall of text with lots of very technical information that are very difficult to our target. Because of course we have a target which really know us, that understand completely what we are talking about. We also have a target of potential supporters which don't fully get us in everything. And one aspect of our work is to let them be closer to us, to inform them, to be captivating to people who are likely to take part to our things, but they are not so persuaded yet. This storytelling and this find the challenge and find out how we can accomplish this challenge. Maybe if, as I said, If our storytelling challenge is a more inclusive word, of course, the result of our challenge will be do more things together or be more imbalanced between our religious community and the society, the more complex society we live in. And to find this balance, to find this inner balance, it's our mission to be accomplished. So I will make a resume of what we have studied today, because I know we have said many things and we have introduced many different topics and many concepts. So we have pointed out, to make our resume, that we have to focus values we are talking about, and then to focus about the target. The target is people we are talking to and people who we want to talk to, the potential target. They are both our targets, and we have to question what our target like to, what our target doesn't like to, or which are the aspiration and the frustration of our target. And this will help us to understand better which type of content or which type of language we have to use to speak to them. And then we also use the study of the target to understand at what time to post and which type of post they prefer. This kind of answer we will find out with insight. You can do an in-depth study of insight. You will find on your social media challenge. It's something for free and native in every social media. You will find insight tool where you can say the time at what target is more likely to be online, or the type of content, for example, photos or videos or links or text that target prefer most, interact the most, which is, for example, the most engaging post of our editorial plan, and it will show us what works better. And then about this focus on the target, we have talking about storytelling, the stories between our organization, also offline and also online. The stories are behind practically everything, and in a practical way, it's about to focus the values we show to represent and to transmit, and the challenge we are facing, and so to find out which are the most important things for us as organization. Maybe you will find this maybe not very useful, but it's due because it's what make us different from other organizations like us, for example, why people should have choose us and stay with us. So which are our values, which are our the things we are really good at, and the things we can provide to them. And also it helps people we are related to feel part of something bigger, to feel not alone. So at the very end, it's very important. Stories, it's what make us believe in communication. It's what make us inspired, and what make our life valuable to be lived, in which sense that if I want to make a world a better place, or also if I want to feel better with myself and to work on personal improvement, are values and stories that inspired me to do so. Very few people do things in work just because it's good like that, or because it's safer, or because it's good. Someone just told it's good to do so. We do that because we believe in it, because we believe to be better, and we believe that it makes things better. So that's what's about the storytelling and to face. And if you see at your organization, you will see your challenge, your choice, and where you are oriented, what are things important to you. So the lesson of today is finished. If you have any question or practical questions, I'm here, and you also can write to me in these days, so I can provide you maybe more detailed infos and things you are curious about, because of course it's a very huge topic. Usually I do a 6-month course about this, so you can imagine how many things there are to be told. Thank you for your attention, and I'm here for any further questions or to go in deep.